Well, hello, everybody. This is Jim Graham, and I am so excited for you all to be on this call. You guys are in for a treat. Um, Gosh, I don't even know where to begin when it comes to why I'm excited about new traffic sources, but this is one that for sure got my attention, and I've been testing myself and getting amazing traffic that's targeted from a place that I never actually expected to ever get any traffic from before because honestly, I didn't even think I was qualified to be able to do it. So you're here on this webinar, 48 hours to 1,000 plus targeted hits to your website or other online assets. I'm going to tell you this is absolutely true, and this is why I'm here. And if you know anyone that you think could use these strategies coming up, because honestly, when Doug starts, it's all content. There is no pitch here. This is all content. And if you know anyone that you think could use a new strategy that is completely different than what you're normally used to hearing, let them know now and invite them with your link because it will certainly get them excited as well. So let me just go back a little bit in time. I met Doug Crow, I'd say 6-8 months ago, maybe even 9 months ago, at a little workshop, and I was talking to him about what he did, and he was telling me that he was able to post very specialized articles that would get shared by the largest news websites all over the world. And I'm thinking, okay, news. What does that mean? Well, here's what I'm seeing when it comes to news in Google. News articles are actually ranking on page 1 of Google higher than most websites. And so I'm thinking, oh, wow, that's something. Okay. So let's find out where this is headed and how is this happening? How is it like CNN or Fox would want to pick up some article about me? And because this is something that I only thought that, if you were Donald Trump, you got in the news. If you were, I don't know, a politician, you got in the news. But you know what I'm learning from Doug is that good news sells, and news websites, they're wanting good news, not just bad news. And so I'm learning from this from Doug. Doug keeps sharing with me the strategies. We even have done it a few times where I've actually had articles spread out all over the planet on these news sites, ranking on page 1. And Doug is going to show you actually what that meant to me later, where I got more than 5,000 hits in 48 hours to my own website in 48 hours, which is something I've never been able to do before. It's incredible. But anyway, so Doug, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Welcome, Doug, to the
Thanks,
call. Just a couple of housekeeping things, and then we can get going. First of all, if you have any questions at all, we have enabled questions, so you can put your Q&A in. Ask those questions away. At the end, we'll try to answer those. And like I said, and Doug's going to say this as well, there is no pitch at the end. This is content rich. You're going to get it all from Doug. So Doug, go ahead and take it away.
All right, thanks so much, I appreciate it. Yeah, this is about traffic, targeted traffic to your website, and of course, with that, creating that list of people that you want, the hungry buyers that you really want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you this by showing you how authentic experts, and I italicize authentic here, who don't necessarily blog or tweet or Facebook, how they sell and leverage their brand, and like Jim mentioned, they get connected to the top media channels by doing this. It's pretty exciting. So let me tell you briefly about who I am. I'm a business owner, and I'm a former ABC radio host. So I have some credentials in the world of broadcasting. I'm the founder of Author Your Brand, and I'm currently a journalist with Newswire. And that's very important to note and keep that in the back of your mind here in terms of the news, how this is going to work. And what I do is I work with professionals and entrepreneurs really to eliminate a lot of the myths and overwhelm of becoming a recognized expert. There's a whole lot of talk out in the internet about expert, authority, credentials, all that stuff. You know what? I got to tell you, I've been in this space for quite a while. I've been to a lot of seminars and listened to a lot of people. And there's a few things that I know, and we're going to cover those in this webinar. And I do that. Here's the thing about journalism. To do this right, we're not talking about what you may think is just a typical press release, okay? We're talking about actually doing, like Jim mentioned, positive news that will only shine you in a good light, okay? I think that's pretty important. So a little bit about me. I've been a speaker and an author for a number of years. I'm a private pilot like Jim, a radio host. I started out on WIND in Chicago, which is the second largest talk radio station. And I was fortunate enough to interview some pretty good people that you may have heard about, like Robert Kiyosaki, his wife, Kim Kiyosaki there. And after being with WIND for about 1.5 or 2 years, I moved over to WLS. WLS is an ABC radio station. It's the #1 talk station in Chicago with, it's broadcast more than Chicago. Actually, the signal goes into several states. ABC owns them. Disney bought the channel. And I had a really good time there and learned a whole lot about being a good guest as well as a host. And what that did is that gave me a lot of ammunition and experience to be able to go ahead and take it into the digital world of being a journalist with Newswire. So here's a couple quick things here. I want you to definitely stick around on this webinar, because I'm not only going to give content and some very successful and strategies that you can use, but I'm also looking for some case studies on entrepreneurs. So there'll be some applications for you at the end of this webinar, and it will, it's be something that you would definitely want to stick around for. Here's a couple questions for you. What are you doing? What are you doing right now to get your website, your business, your brand actually exposed and get people aware of it? A lot of people, they spend money on a website, right? We should all spend money or build a website. You can't really be in business without one. So it took you time and resources to do that, right? I don't know what it cost me, $1,000, maybe 5,000, maybe more. And you should also, as a professional, no matter what you're doing, whether it's a local business, a consultant, doesn't matter. You should also be on LinkedIn. However you build that, and that's going to be positioned well, because there's a lot of LinkedIn profiles that just stink. And Jim's helped me out with mine quite a bit. So you have to put time into that. You should be posting articles and connecting and contacting in groups. There's lots of things to do there, right? As well as YouTube. A lot of people tell you that, oh, video is a new way to get exposed online. So you need to spend money and time creating videos, publishing the videos, putting SEO on those videos. There's a lot of investment into that as well. Or perhaps you've been told, hey, if you blog every day, you can be a good blogger and get traffic to your blog, right? You need to spend a little bit of money and a lot of time creating or curating quality content, right? That's the way to get exposure and get business, right? You see where this is going? Okay, you know what? Maybe I'm not really a good blogger, but I love putting up cat videos, all right? I'm going to be on Facebook and ask questions and get engagement and go into groups. And, Facebook, people spend a lot of time. 5 to 10 hours a week is a joke. I think the national average is, last time I checked, it was 54 minutes a day. So it's definitely up there. Or probably just spending money on getting good search traffic to your website or placing ads. I've been a publisher for a number of years and a consultant. I've helped people create books to get them their notoriety they want. And they spend upwards of $20,000 and spend close to a year creating a well-polished, well-positioned, and a significant book to give them the expert status, the credibility that they desire to be online and be known and recognized. So no matter what you're doing in all these things here, whether it's the blog and the website, LinkedIn and your website, or a combination, or maybe like a lot of you might be doing a lot of these things, or all of them, I don't know. Raise your hand if you've done at least 2 or more of these things. There's a little button there on the left side. Click on that raising hand. There we go. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So some people are doing a lot of these things. A few might be doing all of them. As a business owner, ask yourself this question. How much are you making from all this effort? All right. What is your ROI? If think about that. What if I spent $1,000? Am I getting 2,000 out? If I spent 25,000, am I getting 50 or 75 out? Any other business, you should be, maybe not right away, but over several months or a year or so at least, you should be making money back on your investment. So if you look at all these things, the blog, the Facebook, the website, the SEO, blah, most people are very overwhelmed. I mean, I get overwhelmed doing it. I still have to have people help me build my properties and do my stuff. But I found a few things that, sort of do a shortcut on that. Before I get to that, I want to talk about one more difficult part. After building all those properties, there's something even more difficult after you've built it all. And that is this old, this line from the movie Field of Dreams. Everybody remember that? It was Kevin Costner, and had that voice as he's a farmer in Iowa, and the voice says, "If you build it, they will come." Right? And that is a biggest myth, the largest myth that is costing entrepreneurs billions of dollars. That myth is this: if you build it, they will come. If you build a YouTube channel, they will come. If you build a Facebook wall, they will come. If you build a website, if you blog, if you podcast, blah, 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 blah. You know, is that actually happening for you? Dramatic pause, okay? If that's not happening, then the next step is, well, you know what? You got to spend some money. You got to spend some money in advertising. Advertising is what works, right? The big boys do it. The Fortune 1000 spend billions on advertising. But in my opinion, and your opinion as well, if you follow me at my train of thought here, advertising is annoying, right? I'm on the internet looking for something or looking at something, and what comes up? Ads. Ads on the left, ads on the right, ads in the middle of a post that I'm reading, or those stupid sites that want to show a picture of the top 13 hottest dresses, and they put all 13 pictures on 13 different pages. You got to click to go through all of them, right? Why do they do that? They do that because they make a penny or two every time you click that button and look at some ad that you're not even interested in. Okay, that can be obviously very confusing for the consumer. Do you want to confuse your customers? Do you want to annoy them? If you do, no problem. It's going to be very expensive. So go ahead and spend a heap ton of money on advertising, annoy your customers and confuse them and yourself. Sorry, I'm not a big fan of it. Can you tell? Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It just means that I don't think it's a really strong thing to do all in and of itself. Okay, there's ways to do it properly, and there's ways to mess it up and waste a lot of money. So I'm not going to talk about those today because I'm not the expert at advertising. All right, and think about who else has been pulled into that. There's a guy here who had a very significantly large company. He had well over $50 million in sales. So this number here, blowing 600 grand on Facebook, might seem just outrageous to you. To him, it was still bad. $600,000 is a lot no matter who you are. But in his case, he was spending a lot of money on getting likes and shares and what he thought would be engagement. And Facebook just saw this gravy train. They just kept billing him, and nothing happened. So he ended up stopped paying his bill, and they pretty much banned him from Facebook. But you know, how about time? I mean, obviously, if you've tried advertising, you've spent money, and I guarantee you've had some zero returns or negative returns in your advertising. But what about the organic stuff? Hey, you know what? I don't have time or resources or the money to do a lot of advertising, so I'll do the organic way. I will go ahead and start posting and engaging and sharing, and maybe I'll pick up a client or two there. According to Time Magazine, most of the time we spent on social media does not give a return. You know, it's just wasted. Now, it's been backed up by big companies like Kissmetrics that definitely shows us that social media is doing a pathetic job of turning readers into customers. You know, it's just people who are on social media don't want to buy. They want to socialize. That's why it's called social media. It's not called buyer's media. Okay, it's called social media. So if you're going to use that, use it for a social reason. And you can use it to build trust and engagement, but making sales by socially sharing things, not happening. And don't feel bad about this either. If you've tried this and done this, you've just hired the wrong people. There are people who are doing it well and do make money by doing things on social media. But even the big companies, this is an article from Accenture. Accenture did a study that said 20% of marketers who have CMOs. Anyone here know what a CMO is? I had to look it up. I'm an entrepreneur, but CMO is a chief marketing officer. That's for a company that actually has titles. Okay, these are big companies. These are multi-million and billion-dollar brands. 20% of them think they're doing a poor job on their marketing spends, on their investing in their marketing. They're doing, this isn't working well. So even the guys with degrees and initials after their name are still a little bit lost when it comes to marketing confidently. It's a very dangerous thing for anyone to do. You gotta be very, very careful. So after you build it, what is it all about, guys? It's about one thing. It's about traffic. Not just traffic, but targeted traffic, targeted specifically to you. So these are some questions to ask yourself. Number one, how can you create consistent content which will bring you more leads and more sales? This is something we want to talk about. How do you engage in an authentic manner, not in a fake manner? I'm going to talk about that quite a bit today because the most stuff I see out there is all just puffing and fakery. But we want to engage authentically, which create relationships quickly. And then, of course, you got to build trust to accelerate your sales and make the process, make your money even faster. So it's consistent, authentic, and trustworthy. These are key principles that I wanted to talk to you about in terms of this new traffic source. A recent study I read said that a typical marketer spends about 6 hours per day on social media. That was the average. And that included email, fulfillment, anything that was non-sales related. They were spending the bulk of their day not selling and spending over $2,000 a month or $25,000 a year on average on ineffective marketing plans. The worst part about this study said that the typical entrepreneurial marketer at the end of the day makes less than minimum wage after all this work, because we're positive people, aren't we? And you're not going to be an entrepreneur and not be positive. You're not going to be a negative guy. You go, yeah, I can make this work. I can make this happen. I can live the dream here, right? When you think about the time and money invested and what you get back for it, it's the reality is not as rosy as it is. I mean, is that something that resembles you or resembles what you've done in the past? And there's a thing that I'd like to look at in terms of, I saw this infographic out there about being busy versus productive. And when you look at the things that we're doing out there, whether it be podcasting or social media, a third of CEOs and owners and proprietors, they want to spend less time on that, not more. You don't want to invest more time in getting, no results. So take a look at what your competition is doing. And this is the part that gets a lot of entrepreneurs either motivated or depressed. But your competition are the ones who are being published, recognized, and shared. Meanwhile, your knowledge, your experience, quite frankly, is sort of trapped and unknown. What does that mean? That means your position, what you know when you're positioning in the marketplace, is insignificant. Nobody knows who you are, at least not a lot of people. You might have a following, you might have 1,000, 2,000 people who follow you, like you, or fan you, or friends and family and other clients. But really, think about it. Outside of that sphere of influence, who knows you, right? Who really knows you and who's buying from you? So in my opinion, and if you think about this realistically from your own standpoint, look at your bottom line, look at your spreadsheet, look at your P&L, look at your balance sheet. The results are very clear, okay? All this work you're doing on marketing and social media is not giving you the results that you want. So the question you might want to ask yourself is, how do you make more money doing what you're already doing? How do you make what you're doing worth more? So I want to give you some slightly humorous examples of this, all right? I want to talk about some media darlings. We're talking about media today. But these people, you've heard of these people perhaps, Kim Kardashian and Kanye or Justin, they're in the news, right? They're in the media. But what value do they bring? Okay, they're entertainers. Yeah, I get that. Okay, they entertain, at least to some people. I don't know about the first one. I know the other two are singers. I don't know what the first one does. I have no clue. But they are media darlings. They are all over the media. They don't really need to spend money in advertising, right? You see many ads for Justin Bieber's music on the internet, on TV? You don't see the ads there, do you? You see a lot of media exposure. Okay, that doesn't happen by accident. And these people know how to do it properly because they not only are significant in the media, but they actually do bring some value if you dig deep in what they provide. Donald Trump, media genius, okay? He's used his scowl on his face and his bad hair to his advantage. Bill Clinton, brilliant communicator, political stuff aside, brilliant communicator. And, whatever he touches is gold because he's a marketing, I'm going to call him a marketing genius from a communication standpoint. And Richard Branson doesn't even try. He just is a fantastic businessman, and he can develop, well, I don't know how many companies he owns or controls. It's several hundred. So you think you're overwhelmed with trying to build your website, your presence, and your brand online. Imagine doing that with 200 plus companies, okay? These guys know how to take their media exposure and make money with it, okay? So what I'm going to share with you today is how you can get instant targeted traffic. I'm going to show you examples of getting over 1,000 plus targeted hits to any website, any landing page you have. Now, and think about what that means, 1,000 target hits. You know what, in the world of internet marketing, that might sound like a small number because a lot of people out there are hyping you, saying, hey, I can get you, 1 million views in a day or or 100,000 visitors and all that stuff. You know, anything that sounds too good to be true, it normally is. So I'm pretty conservative with what I share here because I back it up with actual data that you can go and verify online. Not outside this webinar, you can go and look at stuff and say, oh yeah, what he just said about that piece of news was actually accurate. But let's think about what this actually means. 1,000 targeted hits. Let's say your landing page had a measly 10% conversion on it. And let's say you just focused on a lower price product, 97 bucks. Well, getting 1,000 targeted hits to a well-converting landing page on a $97 product, that's close to 10 grand. So that's not a small number, not a small number at all, especially when you find out what it actually costs or what your investment would be to get that targeted traffic. So here's what I'm talking about. And there's gonna be like 2 or 3 slides in this presentation that sort of round out and distill what we're doing. Here's how I get targeted traffic. I network with journalists, okay? I write quality articles that news sites want to reproduce. Sure, they're shared socially, but the primary point of contact is with news sites. And I'll tell you why that's important in a second. Because what I do is I continue publishing these articles, then they're consistently picked up by hundreds and thousands of other news sites. Now, if all that sounds like mumbo jumbo to you, I'm going to share with you a quick story on how I happened upon this quite by accident. When I was doing my real estate training years ago, I was spending money on marketing and trade shows and outreach and basically the same stuff that a lot of people do, which is advertising. And somebody came to me saying, Doug, we'd like to talk to you about doing PR. I'm like, what's PR? Oh, PR is public relations. I said, I want to make money. I want sales. I don't know what public relations is. He said, well, public relations is getting you in the news and positioning you so your brand is recognized. And my response was, that sounds really hoity-toity. I want sales. And they said, well, sales come from that. And the guy who was talking to me was very, very influential. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and try this. And it was a $5,000 monthly retainer. So the first month, we pretty much, worked on my image, my brand, my position, talking, photos, press kit, all those types of things. Second month, nothing happened. Third month, nothing happened. I'm in the $15,000 point now. Towards the end of the third month, I'm about to say, you know what, this isn't working out. I'm going to cancel. He said, just hold on, we'll see what happens. The last week of the third month, he said, I got an interview for you. Interviews with the Seattle Times. Now, guys, I'm in Chicago. I'm selling real estate training in a classroom environment where people show up to class in Chicago. So what's the Seattle Times going to help? How are they going to help my business out? And he said, just take the interview. I said, fine, okay, I'll do it. I just trusted the guy, even though I was about ready to fire him. And I did the interview. It lasted 4 minutes. When this 4-minute interview is over, I'm like, okay, great. I just blew 15 grand. Good luck. Well, in the 4th month, I did not pay in the 4th month yet. The article came out in the Seattle Times. It was a quarter-page article about the real estate industry in general, trending topics, etc. Doug Crow was not featured in this article. I was mentioned in 2 paragraphs, and they quoted me on my opinion of what was happening in the real estate market. My name and my company name was mentioned. There was no hyperlink. There was no phone number. Just my name, my company, and 2 sentences in 2 separate paragraphs. And I look at this article, I'm like, oh boy, this is depressing. I just wasted $15,000 and I got mentioned in the Seattle Times, which I don't have any business in Seattle. But a funny thing happened. Within a week, I had 6 phone calls from people all over the country saying they wanted to hire me with their real estate investing. And out of those 6 people, 5 people hired me, which means that I earned $32,500 in consulting in the 4th month. So I took pause. I said, wait a minute, I just spent 15 grand, but I just doubled my investment on my, I don't want to call it marketing spend. My investment in my business translated into a profit for me on this first article. So what this means for you guys is I'm going to take this, I'm going to blow it up even bigger than a single article. I'm going to talk to you about authority and like real authority backlinks with these news sites and what that means to you nowadays, because we put links in there to your website and to your phone number, everything. it gets your websites ranked much, much higher. It gets your articles ranked higher. You'll get your landing pages ranked higher, and most importantly, get your sales pages ranked higher. And what that translates to you as an entrepreneur, especially if you have an online business right now, is it gets your buy buttons found. Because right now, no one's finding those things. Your competition buttons are getting found, they're making money, but you're not. When you do what I'm going to suggest here in the authority backlinks or news sites, you're going to make more sales and you're going to beat your competition. How do I know this? Because I've got guys like this, okay? This guy, he went from 0 to consulting fees of $25,000. It resulted by news articles. His name is Lane Etheridge, sharp guy. Matter of fact, during this launch of his in the news, we actually made him a best-selling author at the same time. He became a #1 best-selling author in business mentoring and coaching, which is what he does. That's his category, is business mentoring and coaching. Just came on the scene and just absolutely blew it up. Another example, one of my clients was doing a women's leadership program in California a while ago. And when her article was published, it was ranked #2 in Google. Okay, you can see right there, hers was ranked #2. Look at the bottom of the slide. Huffington Post is #6. My client's article, because it was fresher news, no, it's not even fresher. It actually was older than hers. Was spot #2. Out of 50,000 results, we got the #2 spot. This happened in 48 hours. One of my other clients out in Australia, Robert Curry, beat out Forbes. And our thing in this ranking, 593,000 results. His was #1. His story, his news article that we wrote and published for him was #1 on Google. Forbes was #5. And by the way, speaking of direct traffic, which is what this is really about, this is a gentleman you might have heard of. The name is Jim Graham. Jim, if you're still there and want to chime in about what this did for you and how it worked, go right ahead if you're still awake.
I'm here, and I tell you what, Doug, when you did this for me, it's like, oh my gosh, 5,000 plus views in 48 hours of my website, which is something that is incredibly difficult to do under any circumstances. But the interesting thing about this is when I got to see the backlinks, they were coming from all over these authority websites, which is what's increasing the ranking of the website, that kind of thing. So that was really, really amazing. And this is a real number right here. That's the number.
Yep. So that's the result of just getting started. That's in the first 48 hours. What I'm going to share with you, my strategies, it's not a one-hit wonder. We actually continue this on an ongoing basis for a lot of our clients. So I'm going to share with you these exact strategies about how to position yourself as the expert, even if you don't think you are one right now. And there's a clear distinction that I want to share with you later. If you have any questions on what that means, please stick around to the end. I'm also going to show you how to eliminate overwhelm. So you can get thousands of people to come your way. And in my opinion, this is the absolute fastest way to get to those results without having, to do that expensive advertising stuff. So why is this important to you right now? In my opinion, most marketing and branding advice is absolutely dead wrong. Marketing is expensive. It usually doesn't work because a lot of it is trial and error. It's different for every single person. It's like predicting the weather, 6 months in advance. You've got to just try stuff. What I'm going to share with you is a brand new way for most of you. It's not a brand new way in the world, but it's a brand new way for most entrepreneurs where they don't think they can be significantly positioned in high-ranking news sites. But it makes sense, and I have gotten consistent results on this for years. So a couple questions. This is for you if you're a professional and want to be recognized as an authority expert, or if you just want quick target traffic, and if you want to rank higher on Google, even on page 1, and if you want more revenue, like soon, this is definitely for you. All right, so stick around. The house rules are on people who are not, it's not for. It's not for anybody who wants to get rich quick. Because even though we get quick traffic, I don't know what your conversion is. I don't know how your sales process works. So it's about traffic. If you're in a get rich quick world, $1 million in a day, then I can't help you out. This is not for fake experts, which is different than a person who doesn't think they're an expert. A fake expert who says there's something they're not. Okay, and as a journalist, we don't lie. I don't. We're not going to tell somebody that you do something that you don't do. So if you have anything that's unsubstantiated, I can't print that. We do check things out, but we're going to make you the hero in news stories. But the bottom line is, this is not for people who are liars or cheats. All right. So if you have any sliver of that, I can't help you out. And the other house rules is that, think about this. Most people spend big money, huge money, in the wrong places online. You know, Jim and I had a conversation about this before the webinar started. I don't want to go into it now, but we just work with a client who unfortunately has wasted over $50,000 on completely ineffective, borderline theft on his online stuff. And it just broke our hearts. So quick confession for you, I have an advantage over most of you. I already have experience in this industry. I have a professional team and a network of influence, which you might be able to leverage into. So just to, you know, how this works. And of course, the opportunity today is insane because I'm not selling anything. I'm doing this for one sole purpose, is to build relationships with you guys on this webinar. I want to get to know you. I want to get to know your business, and then have a discussion later, if appropriate, about how we can put you in the news. But right now, if you got a credit card handy, just put it away because there's no sale at the end. All right, fair enough? Okay. So I want you to imagine this scenario for yourself. Okay, what would happen if your article happened to be shared hundreds or even thousands of times on these news authority sites? Okay, what if you had, like Jim, 5,000 hits to your website, and it converted at even 10% on a small $97 product? The simple math is very clear. That's $50,000 in revenue. Now, that might sound like a stretch to some of you, but it's absolutely not a stretch. You know, when I had my business, you know, a few years ago, I was a relatively unknown, slightly struggling entrepreneur, like a lot of you. I mean, it sounds familiar, right? But using the three-step system I'm going to share with you, my business exploded, not overnight, but over several months. And I went from an average business guy to becoming really the guy in Chicago, ABC radio host, and even earned over $835,000 eventually in a single day using the three-step method I'm going to teach you right now. Okay, and this is what it did for me, right? This is very, very simple. I expanded my news-based marketing beyond a single article, the one that made $32,000, and this is what I did with it. I sold $3.2 million of real estate in about 2 hours. Now, my profit that evening was $835,000. I did that using the three-step method I'm going to share with you, and then we continued generating this cash-earning targeting traffic over and over again. All right. So what got me there was one simple thing. It was quality news articles that were shared thousands of times. That's it. Quality news articles shared thousands of times, dominating online. Now, positioned right is important, and it's got to be high quality, it's got to be readable and shareable, all right, with this proven formula. Because what it is, it's really how you're positioned online, and it's how you're talked about, not just by your friends and family and Facebook friends, but how you're talked about by credible, authoritative, and trusted sources who talk about you in the right way, right? A lot of people mention, oh, news is negative, news is bad, I don't want to be in the news. No, because there's a simple three-step formula for saying it right, okay? And we do the hero's journey. If anybody's a writer out there knows the hero's journey, we use the hero's journey in our news articles. And here's the way it works for us. You ready? 3 steps. Step 1, follow trending news, okay? It's got to be trending. If you're not following trending news, you're trying to make up your own news, you're going to get lost online. So we might look at, you just look on Facebook, it's got those trending articles with a little bar graph on the right side, or we follow a lot of Google alerts where they alert us to what's trending out there, or even sites like whatstrending.com, right? Here's a Justin Bieber roast jokes that was, shared 4.4 million times. So trending news is really important. So you got to follow the trending news. Because people, you know what they do? People follow trending stories. It's water cooler attitude of, hey, what did you hear about this? Did you hear about this? You see, your audience, your fans, your followers, your clients are following major events. And what they do is they distill or think about these events, but they usually get them from credible sources. They might get some wacky sites, but most people say, you know what? I heard this on Fox, or heard this on my local paper, I heard it from my a trusted source, right? Because following the news for most people, it's an escape from their challenges of their everyday lives. So the magic part is this. I want you to think about combining okay, your expertise with a trending news article. And these are two things, they're two separate things. Whatever you're an expert in, whatever you do for a living, whatever your business is, or your job even, or your product, your service, combining your expertise with a trending topic. Why? Because this is the essence of my whole thing here, guys. Instead of trying to distract people from what they're already reading about through advertising and content, and trying to say, hey, come look at me, come look at me, come and look at me. Stop looking at that man behind the curtain. Don't read the article. Look at this ad. Come look at my stuff. Look at my cat video. Trying to distract them from what they're already reading about. I want you to get in the way of where they're already looking. Does that make sense? Think about that. Instead of trying to distract them, I'm going to insert you in where they are already looking. Okay, it's called, or I call it, newsjacking. And the trick is to become aware of trending stories, spin your content by commenting on that story. You're going to be the hero, right? You're going to comment on a trending story. Like my Seattle Times article, I was not the feature person in this article. I commented on it. But what I did was, most importantly, I'm going to relate my commentary to the people who are searching for this news. Okay? And that's where your opinion, your commentary comes into play. That's step 2, is to create compelling opinion. When I made my opinion, when I gave the 4-minute interview with a reporter, I told her some things which were conventional, but I also told her some unconventional things, some actually controversial statements about this trending story. When it was controversial, it piques a person's interest. They go, oh, wait a minute, that's different. Remember at the very beginning, Jim said, you got to do things that are different. Remember Apple's big ad from years ago, think different. Okay, so a trending story, when everybody agrees, tends to get sort of like, I don't know, you don't really listen to it after a while. Like, yeah, I heard that, I've heard that before. But when you're different and can relate your difference to a direct benefit you can deliver, huge win. I want you to talk more about the trending story and potential benefit to the reader rather than your whiz-bang solution, right? Oh, I've got this product, this service. Forget about that. The trending story, your compelling commentary, and focus on the potential benefit, because your news story, it should be a direct opinion about this trending topic. My direct opinion on that Seattle Times article was about the real estate industry, but I related my commentary, my controversial commentary, I related it to the desired outcome of the reader, okay? And I gave some thoughtful opinion in the news they were interested in, okay? So the article's written, the article itself is a teaser, okay? The real meat of it is demonstrating a beneficial point, and a real big payoff for the reader, all right? That's step 2. Then it's time for step 3. See how easy this is? Step 3 is sharing it, okay? Sharing it amongst hundreds or thousands of other news sites. We'll talk about why that's more critical than the ones in the middle there. The Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, YouTube, those are the ones that anybody can do. But getting in BBC, New York Times, LA Times, C-SPAN, those are a little bit different. Those are much more highly ranked than your Pinterest account, guys. So we're going to talk about both those things because they're both important. But your article needs to be newsworthy. It needs to be shareable, not just shared, but shareable. Big difference there. What that means is people share it willingly, especially in the media. And how does that happen? How do one things go viral and other things don't? Okay, and the basics of that is it's got to relate to basic psychology, human interests, such as something as simple as a holiday, or perhaps celebrity news, or even some just general topics, sports or politics, a human interest story, science, disasters, or really any news that can be linked to your business. And let me give you some examples here, because some of us might be a little bit stuck on how I could relate my flower shop to the news, or how I can relate my my light bulb, my green light bulb distribution company to the news. So let me give you some clear examples here. I'm happy to put somebody in the hot seat at the very end of this webinar and suggest your topic, and I'll help you out with it real quickly. But let's say a celebrity's arrested in the news. Let's say I'm not saying it's happened, but let's say Justin Bieber was arrested for drunk driving. If that happened, that's a trending news topic. People are going to be talking about that. and how shameful it is and blah, blah, blah. You as a life coach, our story that we write and we publish and we share amongst other news channels would be about the arrest. It will be about Justin Bieber's arrest and drug driving, etc. But then you'll be positioned, your commentary, you're the expert on being a life coach, how you would have helped, guide this young man and how your solution could have prevented this arrest. The article is about Justin Bieber, but you come in as the expert, just like you see experts on news shows. It's not just the anchor person talking the whole time. They always need expert opinion and authority. It's just like that, all right? Let's take something even more mundane. Let's say it's a holiday, okay? So whatever you sell can make the perfect Mother's Day gift. And this is where the light bulb example came in. I gave this example on a previous webinar, but let's say something as mundane and boring as you sell light bulbs. Okay, let's say you sell, those fluorescent light bulbs, eco-friendly light bulbs. Now, you're not going to have an article about the perfect holiday gift being a light bulb, right? That's just dumb. That's not going to work. But a news story, something newsworthy and shareable, could be something as simple as we find a story about a homeless single mother who had her electricity shut off. And isn't that a tragedy? And maybe nobody knows about this, but being in the news, we bring awareness to this story. Okay, it's, oh my God, this woman has 5 kids. Her husband died in Iraq, and she couldn't pay her electric bill, and she tried and got assistance, but she couldn't pay it. Her electricity got shut off. What I would do is I'd write an article about this poor woman, and then I bring you in and say, okay, just pay her bill for a year, right? And you pay her whole bill for a year. Maybe it costs you $500. Who cares? Then that's in the news. You give her a 5-year supply of light bulbs. You pay her electrical bill. You are the hero in this story. Okay, that's the hero's journey. I'm not going to talk about your product. I'm not going to talk about Mother's Day that much. I'm going to do a Mother's Day news story and position you as the hero. So sometimes you have to actually have negative news, because negative news sometimes get more attention. But same thing, hero's journey. Let's say there's a government scandal at the Veterans Administration, like there hasn't been, okay, in the US at least. So they've done some bad things there, and it's in the news. So what we would do is we would talk about that news story and then insert your commentary about the story. Yeah, it's a tragedy that our government can't take care of their veterans. Fortunately, independent businesses are stepping up. For example, like this guy, Jim Smith from blah, blah, blah. He's donating 10% of his profits to the Wounded Warriors Project. So what we do, again, we're gonna spin your position, not necessarily your product, but you as a brand inside a trending topic. I think I hit that point pretty well. So that's the basis of this whole thing. It works really well. And sharing, you've seen this icon before. Sharing is caring, all right? Sharing is caring, that's great. But if you don't care, if people don't care about your product, which they don't because they don't know about it right now, or if they don't want to care about your blog post, your podcast, and they don't because nobody knows about it right now, sharing the news is where real magic occurs. Let me prove it to you. This is a measure from this research center that looked at minutes per visit on websites. Okay, direct readers of news sites have significantly higher levels of engagement. Look at these numbers. Regular search, 1 minute, 42 seconds. Facebook, 1 minute, 41 seconds. This is per search. Direct on news sites, 4 minutes, 36 seconds. A news site gets 4 times more minutes per visit. That means someone's actually reading the entire thing. How many of you skim? Raise your hands if you skim. Look, a little raise hand button there. Yeah, we're skimmers, right? We're entrepreneurs. We got 18 thoughts in our head all at once. We are skimming things. But when people go to a news site, they read. And that's how your name gets picked up, okay? When your newsworthy story is shared by others, it now becomes part of the news stream. You're not interrupting anybody anymore. You're in it. You're in the forefront of this whole thing. Now, your story must be shared in exclusive networks. This is the hard part. You may have a blog post out there, you may have a podcast, but is it being shared in exclusive networks? Is your content being shared by the BBC or Fox or your local news organizations? It probably isn't, because it's not an easy thing to do. Mine is. We did a project for a solar company, and we talked about this utility company using dirty tactics exposed to quash residential solar. almost 900 views just on Newswire alone, 79 hits on Reddit, 69 on Google, 13 on some of the sites. I don't even know where it went. It got all over the place. It's shared in the news. Or, and here's it is again, on this one article about the utility company using dirty tactics, 1,748 hits to the landing page in 48 hours. It was about the dirty tactics. It was a little bit negative because that's what people read, but the hero of that story was Residential Solar, our client. Okay, here's one I was especially proud of. One of my clients is a esthetician. You know, she does all natural facials for people. And one of her clients was Ali Fedotowsky. She's from E! News. She was, I think, a bachelorette or some reality show before that. I don't know. But when we did her story on her facial, a story on a facial, really? It was a 24-karat gold facial, but this thing blew up online. Over 2,400 views on one news site alone. She had over 300 referral shares from Google. And this article, it beat Ali's own Facebook page. Here's an A-list celebrity, and our news article ranked higher than her own Facebook page. It was amazing. And here's what I mean that our news agency is trending up. Recently, you know, Google algorithm, I don't know how Google algorithm works. Nobody does. But in recent times, other, I guess they have press release companies. I don't do press releases, but people do like, hey, I got a new announcement about, you know, Janice being promoted in accounting, or here's a new product. Nobody reads that stuff. But those all are trending down in the past 6 months, whereas actual news has been trending up, okay? Google actually rewards those who create high quality news content that's recognized by the media giants. And they reward that because it's new, and everything that's new, it gets more traffic and gets them more advertising. It's all about money, right? That's the way it works. So it has to be shared by news agencies, whether it's the Boston Globe, CBS, or even something as local, like the Akron Beacon Journal, Plain Dealer, Greenville News, Kansas City Star. These local ones also add to your SEO mix. Now, I've shared with you this entire strategy. It's earned me millions, and you can do it all for yourself. You could try to hire a professional journalist, try and get authority news sites to pick up your article, you know, beg them to share it, but it's, you know, quite frankly, you don't have the network to do that. You see, it's not just what you know, it's, as you've heard this expression before, it's who you know. News writing and exclusive network is what makes this whole thing work. And your guaranteed results with us is thousands of high quality targeted hits to anything online. And we call Authority Fusion. That's the name of this whole program. We get your story told. Your news article is professionally copywritten and posted in Google News. So what happens is it gets picked up by other major media outlets. The guys that I've mentioned already, the guys that are on this list, are our media partners. And those media partners guaranteed publish your story. And it's not just when it regards to news. It can be also be specific newspaper sites, Boston.com, Daily Herald, Silicon Investor, Channel 4 in Utah, Illinois, Atlantic. There's lots of different regional ones which are really important. In addition to the regional news companies, we also have TV and radio sites. All TV and radio stations nowadays have online directories and online websites that post their news stories digitally online. We are in all of these. So your news story gets published worldwide, not just in the United States or in Australia, but all over the globe. And also, it's also industry specific as well. So if you wanted to focus your news article not just on a regional or global area, but actually in a specific targeted industry, like finance or health, fitness, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. There's lots of journals and news organizations that just only focus on not just local or national news, but industry sites like renewable energy or money sites, you know, Finance News World, etc. So we're in all of these places, and it goes on and on and on. Of course, the social media sites are also backed up on all of these. So when I say it gets shared to hundreds of other channels, that's just a smattering. That's just a little bit of where we share it. And when you get your story ranking above other stories, what happens? Well, you get found, guys. You get found. You get higher search engine rankings. This is just 24 hours after publishing Jim's story. they got 5,000 hits. This is just on Newswire. We had 1,366 hits in the first 24 hours. So what this means, quite frankly, is more prospects, more opt-ins, more leads, and more buyers for you, which gives you more money. So, you know, I'm hired by some of the world's top marketers to do the same thing for them. And now you have a chance to benefit the way they do, but it's going to get better. I want you to watch very closely, okay? This is an attorney, right? And that's a picture on his website. Compare that picture to this one. What do you see there? A little difference, right? A little more color, a little more credibility. How about this guy? Yeah, he's a good-looking guy. How's that look? Looks a little different, right? Which attorney would you most likely hire? How about this gal? Yeah, she's a nice-looking gal. Boom. Featured in our news sites. Or how about this guy? Yeah, looks trustworthy, clean-cut, gray suit. Boom. Featured in ABC, New York Times, Boston Globe, Plain Dealer. Or this gal. You get the idea, right? When you are an online authority expert, this is what most of your websites and profiles look like. You might not be as attractive with this girl, but she's a lot more attractive when she's featured in the news. All right, that can be you. So which stands out? Here's an actual screenshot of banners from some of my friends. Jonathan is a dating and relationship coach. Okay, there was his first banner before he got on news. Second banner, as seen on CBS Radio, eHarmony, dating advice. Right? Who's talking about you? Bart Baggett's a best-selling author. But when Larry King talks about him, or Howard Stern, or America's Most Wanted, his credibility goes through the roof. Right? Here's another example. Sherry Myers, brilliant therapist, sharp gal, great color, good branding on her site, right? Red shirt, red font, all that. Looks very clean, polished, professional. Yep, I might hire her. But I'm definitely going to hire her now. Look at her. She's been on Katie Couric Show, CNN, Playboy Radio, Channel 4, all over the place. So if you'd like to, you know, place these on your website in about 48 hours, which most of you would, most of you are going to benefit from this. It's going to accelerate your sales process. It's going to shorten your sales process. It's going to give you more credibility, putting you in the Google News and getting these logos on your site, okay? I'm sure a lot of you would like to have this 3-step proven system done for you. All right. Like I said, there's nothing to sell here. I'm not going to pitch a darn thing, but I would think that you might want to have a conversation. So here's what you can do. Step 1, you're going to love this. This is so simple. Click on this link, authorityfusion.com/strategy. That's step 1. Step 2, schedule a call with me. Step 3, fill out a short form. That's it. Okay. This is a private, probably a 45, 60-minute one-on-one consultation with me, and it's going to find out if we could be a good fit for each other. I can't guarantee that until I have a conversation with you. Once we determine that we're a good fit, then we can decide if we want to write, publish, and professionally share your article to over 100 recognized media giants, getting you thousands of clicks. Now, after that point, I can tell you there's zero risk. Your story is guaranteed to be published in the Google News, CBS, ABC, Fox, hundreds of others. We guarantee this. And what I want to offer, some bonuses here, Jim, just for people who are going to schedule those calls, right? They don't have to actually do anything except schedule a call, and I want to give you guys a couple of free gifts. I see a lot of people who go on the media and pretty much blow it. They hire a PR firm, they get started, they spend a lot of money, and they go on TV and nothing happens. So I've been both a guest and a host, and I've created this 21 best practices to be interviewed and published more often. It's called 7 Secrets to Broadcast Radio Excellence. Before you do any interview, this is a must. If you want to engage your audience and actually sell your stuff, you got to do it right. So this is a free gift. It's a ebook and video. You can do as soon as you schedule an interview with me by going to authorityfusion.com/strategy. We get on a call. We'll chat about you. Whether you engage us or not, I want to give this to you. I also have a database, which I'm going to pull this next week. I'm not going to offer this second bonus anymore, but I've got over 700 media contacts. These are the names, addresses, emails, and phone numbers of 700 radio producers. It's a very nice list. If you know what you're doing, which you'll be trained by this, by talking with me about how to contact them, you can use this list to get in the radio. They all need content, and this list is gold. It's an absolutely free gift just for scheduling a call with me. And the last thing I want to give is my Become the Authority program. This is a program that actually is for sale online. You can go check it out, Become the Authority. It's a $1,000 program. It's an ebook. It's a series of very extensive checklists, 3 video tutorials, and it helps people really build their fan base and their customer base for a product, a book, whatever it is, before they even create it. It's a backwards way of thinking that most high-level companies do. They do basically focus groups to find out what people are going to buy, what they're not going to buy, and then the customers help create the product, right? So it's a very deep dive into how the little guy can do that and get started. It's a $1,000 program. It's yours absolutely free just by scheduling a call with me by going to authorityfusion.com/strategy. Once you schedule that time with me, I'm also going to talk to you at the tail end of our interview if you qualify to be on our CNN story. We're doing a report for ICNN about entrepreneurship on a global level. So we'll talk about that. There's no guarantees of that, but I'd love to have a conversation with you about that. So in a nutshell, here's what you get. I'm going to give you a 45 to 60-minute conversation, a strategy session, no holds barred. I'm going to talk to you about your product, your company, and how we can position you in the news. That's a complimentary session. I'm going to give you the media guest checklist program, this 7 secrets of broadcast excellence. I'm going to give you my media list of 500 plus radio producers and the Become the Authority system and a potential interview on ICNN, priceless. And the total value of this whole thing for scheduling an interview, get this, is nothing. I don't want a dime. I want to get to know you. I want to chat with you and learn about you and see how newsworthy we can make you. That's it. So the qualifications are pretty simple. Oh, okay, this is a big slide here. Ready? How do you qualify? That's it. Fill out the survey. That's it. You go to that domain and authorityfusion.com/strategy and you'll qualify. We'll talk and get going. Now, to be fair, this is, I'm spending an hour with each person. I don't know how many people are on this webinar right now. Jim might be able to tell me, but I know that last time we did this, the spots filled up within about 10 minutes because I really only have 10 a week. I don't really have more than 10 conversations a week with folks. So if you are interested in being in the news and getting thousands of hits to your website and having a conversation about that, nothing to buy, no obligation, and I'll give you all those free gifts. Just go to that authorityfusion.com/strategy and be happy to chat with you. And that's exactly 58 minutes, and I'm ready for questions and answers.
Every time I see this presentation, Doug, it gets better and better, and you keep adding more things to it and more strategy. It's really, really incredible. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Guys, this is your chance. There are literally, Doug's got 10 spots this week that he can fill because it takes so much time. And there is no string attached. All you have to do is go to authorityfusion.com/strategy, click on that. You can go right in, schedule your appointment, fill out the form. I can already see there are 2 that have done it. Awesome. Excellent. So there are only 8 spots left. Again, this is one of those things where when Doug decides to do another webinar, there will be more spots available. But if you're wanting to get traffic right away and get authority backlinks to your website, because that's what it is. So authority backlinks, this is for you. And this is just having a conversation with Doug. It's not about anything other than that. No obligation at all. This is have a conversation and see if this is a fit. Doug, can you give me an example of when it comes to actually helping someone with doing this, because it's a very special article that you write. It's not just let's just go write an article and throw it up there, right? You spend quite a bit of time on it, right?
Oh yeah, that's probably the biggest thing we do is positioning, quite frankly. The syndication thing happens automatically now. It's taken us years to build these syndication partners, but crafting and positioning the article so it's just right.
Yep.
It takes time. It takes several, it takes a good day or 2 to really pull that all together. And sometimes, in many cases, we'll do a series. I've talked to a lot of people last week who won't benefit from a single article. It's like, we really need to do a series on this because storytelling is what people really, really enjoy and really remember you by. So a series is going to do better for you. You're going to have more exposure that way. You'll get not just 1,000 hits. Most of my clients are getting, like you, 5,000 or more.
Well, and here's the thing: when I put a sales page together, I spend $25,000 on sales copy.
Yeah.
And this is where you're writing the copy. This isn't something that you've got to go pay someone's going to pay to have this copy. This is included with what you're doing. I see there are only 5 spots left, which is awesome. So people are really, really understanding the value of this. That's great. 5 spots left, guys. authorityfusion.com/strategy. Okay, so Doug, tell me, when they fill out this form, you're going to get this form, and then you're going to have a conversation with them, right? And
Yep.
walk me through some of the steps that this call online is going to be about. What are you going to talk about?
Sure. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get to know you, because you've had a chance to listen a little bit about me. So I want to actually take a deep dive into what you're doing and what your goals are, what you want to achieve with your business. I've had a few people to come to me, Jim, and I look at their stuff, and like you, I've got a lot of business experience, and I look at their website, their landing page, their offer, and I'll do a little research. I'll say, you know what, this guy's doing this over here, and do you know about this competitor? And so we take a pretty transparent and raw look into what's going on with you and how we can position that. Let me see if I can give you an example of somebody. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example of one client we did recently. She had a fiction book, and fiction books are tough, man. I've been in publishing my whole life, and you're up against J.K. Rowling, you know, Harry Potter series.
Mm.
So to get her to be a bestseller was almost impossible. So what I did was I used my media contacts, and I said, let's do something different. Let's donate. I mean, her topic in her book was about a mother and daughter thing, and there was a suicide involved, and that was it was a passing passage in the book, but it has an underlying like sub theme in the book.
Mhm.
What we did was let's donate 100% of the profits to National Suicide Prevention. And she's like, what? Yeah, let's not just think of this as a book. Let's think of this as a movement to change the world. So when you get on the phone with me, you're gonna be talking to somebody who thinks big. If that scares you, get on the call. If you love that, get on the call. Because either way, you're gonna benefit from thinking bigger about your business, your brand, and what you can do out there. And we're talking about the media here. This is not just I mean, we can do local marketing, local exposure for you,
Mhm.
no problem. But most people can, like me, in my case, I was a local Chicago real estate investor training company. I went nationwide by accident because I got in the news, and you know, $32,000 later, I'm like, well, I guess I'm nationwide now. And so we started
Well, you know,
doing.
and a lot of things happen by accident, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a long answer to your question, but the
Yeah.
process is communication. We're going to have a conversation about that. I will actually give you some strategies on the phone of how you can position yourself in a way that you most likely didn't think about. Because I'm not you, I don't know your business, but I know the media, and I know what people are reading, and I know what's going to get picked up, what's going to get shared. So I will give that to you in the first 44 minutes. And then after that, we could talk about business.
Yep. Okay, good. Okay, so here's a question. How long does it actually take? Honestly, how long does it take? We have the conversation. We decide to move forward together. How long does it actually take in order to get this all to go?
48 hours.
48 hours.
48, 72.
Well,
It's really
I,
up to the
I,
client more than me.
oh, and I'm one to under promise and over deliver. Honestly, it was less than 48 hours and we were going.
Yeah, it was 24
But
for you.
it was 24, but
Yeah.
48 hours was double.
Yeah.
You're saying double of what it took for me, but it's 48 hours, assuming that unless you have a specific, let's say you're launching a product on a certain day, then you want to time it for that product,
Yeah.
right?
And the series is also important, because the first one is always the sorry, but the first one's the slowest one. It gets better after that. So when we do a series, 48 hours from when you submit your information. So I'm going to ask you for some specific content, a photo. We're going to have a conversation on the phone about this. And then after you submit it, generally our journalists work on the story, work on the trending topics, and within 48 hours, you're in the news. And after that is where the magic happens, because if the syndication happens, the sharing on other news sites, and then probably within a week or so, I want to get you on the phone one more time, because what I'm going to be offering my clients is, I did mention this in the webinar, Jim, but they all get that personal media training with me. So I will teach them how to monetize their news stories. I had a friend who was on Oprah Winfrey. Okay, any author who gets an Oprah is generally a bestseller. This guy didn't sell a single book. He blew it. He had the opportunity of a lifetime, and he blew it. Had he talked to me or any other media trainer, we could have told him what to say and how to say it. So not to be salesy, but to be compelling and to drive people to his website to buy his book and become a bestseller. He blew it. He didn't have the training. So I will be happy to put you in the news. But if you're a client of mine, you're also going to get media training to make sure you monetize it.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay. So here's another one. Have you worked with any nonprofits yet?
Have I worked with any nonprofits? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I had a good conversation with a guy just a couple of days ago about working with nonprofits for the Humane Society. And our whole conversation went from him to his client, which is nonprofit. I said, you know what, let's take you out of the picture. Let's just focus on your client because we can do a whole lot of good. I mean, he told me things I didn't even realize about this nonprofit. It was definitely newsworthy. So yeah, National Suicide Prevention. A lot of my clients actually in the solar industry have some nonprofit angles to them. So it works really well for nonprofit. A lot of them want to lead with their story, which I don't always recommend, but sometimes it works, and it just comes to putting it out there. And with the series, we can do 2 or 3 stories, and they go pretty well.
Let me just check the questions here because I know we still have a few more. Okay, so here's another one.
So you actually really haven't talked about the price of what this would cost to work with you.
Yeah, because we're not selling anything in the webinar. So
I know. But one of the hesitations is they don't know what they're getting into.
Okay, let's do it this way. I'd like to meet you to network with you for 44 minutes. If you like me and I like you, then we can talk about business after that. But everything is pretty customized. I'll tell you what it's not. I mean, when I hired my own PR agency, public relations agency, it was $5,000 a month. I'm 70% less than that. It's not going to be anywhere close to that because we have a lot more automation nowadays to help move things along. But I can tell you it's affordable. If you got a $100 product, anybody can afford this.
If you for sure, if you have a $100 product, you're going to get the hits to your website, and it absolutely pays for it in the first 48 hours.
If you don't have a product, then if you're a nonprofit, you still have a product. Everyone's got a product. I don't care who you are.
Right.
And it's all about, for you, it's all about ROI, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It has to work, right?
I've turned down people, Jim. I've had some people on the phone last week that didn't have anything pulled together. And I said, you know what? As soon as you got something pulled together, talk to me. But right now, you don't even have a landing page. Where are we going to send all this traffic to? This general brochure website? I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do it for you. I'm not going to do it. I want to make sure people get benefit from this.
Excellent. Well, I am seeing that there are just 2 spots left, which
doesn't surprise me. It happens this way in about 10 minutes. The spots dry up, and that's about it. Guys, you got 2 spots left. This is your chance. Go to authorityfusion.com/strategy. You have my personal testimonial for what Doug did for me. This is why I invited you to this webinar, is because I got a result that I couldn't believe, which is I was expecting 1,000 hits. I got over 5,000 hits. And that by itself was incredibly meaningful to what I was trying to accomplish. And I cannot wait to do the next one. Because I want you to take care of other people. Fill me in when you have a chance, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we have only one spot left. We have Leanne, Nancy, Joanna, Ava. I think I know you. Yeah, there's only one spot left. Mary got a spot. Maria's got a spot. Yeah. So one spot left for this week. So go ahead and just book it. If you're the last person, go ahead and click on it and let's do it. Let's have a conversation. Yeah, I mean, I hope I'm not being evasive in the pricing, Jim. It's just it's customized, it's affordable, and I promise not to sell anything. So I don't really like talking about that. If that's okay.
I totally understand. Totally understand.
And if you want to twist me out of it, I'll do it, but it's up to you. You're the host.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I understand because every project is different. Someone may be just wanting to sell a little hand cream. I don't know, and that may be a lot less expensive because it's just a thing of hand cream than it is to try to sell a whole program, a coaching program, or consulting program, or something like that. It's all different.
Yeah, just understand it's affordable, and it doesn't even come up in conversation until the first 44 minutes are over, and then we can talk about it. Because a lot of times, like I said, maybe it's the small percentage because I can generally get anybody in the news, but a small percentage aren't qualified because their business isn't ready for it. Because once you get a lot of traffic, you better be ready to sell or make some connections or do some, whatever you're going to do, whether it's nonprofit or for-profit, you better be ready to use that traffic for what you want to use it for, not just have a crew.
Right.
A lot of people do this branding thing of being in the news and CBS, ABC, I'm in the news. Really? Okay, so what does that do for you? If you're not going to leverage it, then it's just an ego trip. Nothing wrong with that. It's important to keep your stature and your expertise above your competition. But one more thing I want to add, what we do for our clients is I provide every single link on those hundreds of news sites. I give those to you. Now, what do people do with those links? Oh, that's cool. I'm in Maxim. I'm in ABC. I'm in the USA Today. That's great. Well, gosh darn it. Take those links and put them on your website, please.
Exactly.
I'm no SEO expert, but I happen to know that an inbound link from the Wall Street Journal to your site means something. So what I provide my clients is proof that you were in the news. You get this like a 4 or 5 page report on all these links that go right back to your website. So darn it, yeah, use them.
Great. Well, Doug, it looks like we are pretty much filled up.
Yep. Awesome. I appreciate it. I appreciate your hosting, Jim, and I hope I didn't poo-poo the social media stuff. I know you're really good at that. You've helped me with that, but in terms of getting
this is a whole nother level of traffic, right?
Yeah.
The social media is what we're really good at, and I have to surround myself with experts in the other things I want to accomplish, and this is a whole nother level. And I've never had authority backlinks until meeting you.
Yep, and I think it works well together too, because in terms of the news sharing is important, but what also works is once that news is out there, remember we encourage your people to share your news story.
That's right.
Social sharing is a huge signal for Google now, as you know.
That's right. That's right.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for the call. I appreciate you being on. We'll see you again. Well, Doug, you're going to see them on when you have your consultation with them. Appreciate your time. Have a wonderful evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are around the world. And we'll probably see you on another webinar.
You got it. Thanks.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.